we're going to the approval of the minutes of November 16th. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, and a motion has been made and seconded. Any questions, corrections, additions or omissions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is so moved. Okay, approval of the financial reports, the check warrant you have in front of you for November. Okay. Do I have a motion on the check warrant?
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second.
motion has been made and seconded that the check warrant be approved. Any questions or comments on that? Hearing none, all those in favor? So moved. Okay, the MMDT statement you just received, it came in this morning's mail, so it's to the side. Take a motion on that, please.
Motion.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded that we approve the MMDT statement for the month of November, showing an increase of $90.59, bringing us to a total of $27,943.68. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, accountant budget. That's another addition you had to the side. Our
Yes.
accountant is here today. Okay. You'd like
You're
to
going to
cut it?
introduce her.
If you'd like to go ahead.
Okay, so with us today is Teresa Ewald from Fenton and Ewald. You know that Chris had passed, so Teresa has picked up Westport for a period of time, and they are looking to hire somebody because Teresa has enough to do.
Yeah, I know. But-
She oversees everything, so
Yeah,
she
yeah.
oversaw what Chris did and all of that,
Yeah,
so
Yeah, so, yes, but.
glad to have her here,
Yes,
though.
Yes,
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes, good morning. Yeah, so, you know, as just to put you at ease, we are, you know, looking that we're going to be hiring somebody, but, you know, we are a staff of 11 of us, so we're able to pick up the pieces and be able to, you know, provide the services to Westport without any problems. But yeah, we do miss Chris very, very much. So today, what we're looking at is the budget that was started, you know, July 1. I know this is December, but this is, you know, DHCD just recently came out with the budget guidelines, and so until they do that, we're not able to actually put the budget together. So what I'll do today is I'm just going to go over some of the changes that happened this year, you know, the cap increases, and I'll go over all that with you, and then just talk about some of the different line items and what we did, and then give you a final bottom line, okay, of our budget for 2023. Unbelievable. I don't know where 22 went to. So on the state program, so on our 4001, our elderly development, this year, what DHCD, every year, they give us what's called, we have a spending cap, which is an amount of money that that we have in our budget. And if you go to the second page in the package that I give you, you'll see that our non-utility spending cap last year was $174,000, all right? And this year, what DHCD did is they granted a 9% increase, okay? Usually we're seeing something 4%, 3%, something like that. 2, we've seen all kinds of things. But so this year, we're looking at a 9%. So what that means is an extra almost $16,000 in our budget available. Of course, we know with everything going up, the costs of everything, but it's our additional new money in our budget that we have to absorb any increase in costs and things like that. And so that was the key thing. And then, the other part that they do is they then determine the admin salary, a line item. Now, for us, because we're under a management agreement, but that admin percentage, which was a 5%, also affects management agreements, okay? So what we did was we were allowed to increase the management agreement with Somerset by 5%. And, kind of the same, the calculation. So we have built that into the budget. So those are the two kind of key things of money and what DHCD, when they come out with their guidelines, that we begin putting the budget together, okay, from there. So, so with that new money, what we, when we put the budget together, we built the 5% into the management agreement. We just recently got our property insurance bill, which went up 15%, went from $177 a unit to $204. To be expected. And then some of our other things, our health insurance, our retirement, to be honest, those things, considering some of the increases that we're hearing about in inflation, those have not gone up that significant. The health insurance starting July 1 went up like 4%. So, that's actually pretty good for what we're looking at. Our retirement bill this year went up like just a little over 1%. So that part is good. But now we're looking at things like maintenance materials and some of our contract costs and all those kinds of things. We've built in increases to at least cover what we spent last year, and then added some money to some different line items as we were looking at things. So it's pretty, your budget is pretty straightforward. We, in the packet we have here, I have all the supporting schedules for the different things. We built in in admin other and in maintenance. I just upped the line items because we know that all the costs increase. And so once I put all the pieces together and accounted for all the different things in the budget, our budget was able to come together, and we actually had a little money of that spending cap that we have. We actually have a little extra money that we didn't spend that goes towards covering non-routine expenditures. So. So on the front page here.
So before Teresa goes any further, let me just say that we don't have this money. It's allowable money that we can spend. So it's not necessarily money that we actually have in hand.
Well, we have it in hand one way or another. We have it either we get it in operating subsidy from the state, or we get it in rental income. So those are our two income portions that pay for everything in our budget, okay? So we get the money, we either get it in subsidy and then we get it in monthly rental income that as the residents pay. So we do, it's not like we have it all at one time. We earn it on a monthly basis, and then we spend on a monthly basis.
Right.
And from utilities too, that's been a tricky thing this year. We hear all kinds of rumors about 40-50% increases in utilities and things along those lines. So I did built-in increases when it comes to that. And so, our subsidy, we're looking at earning, if we spend all of our budget and everything as we have here, and we're looking at getting potentially about $27,000 from the state in subsidy, okay? And then, and the remaining part that pays for the budget comes from the rental income that we collect from the residents. So, after putting everything together, also, one of the things that we keep an eye, that we have to do as we're putting the budget, is we look at your reserves and make sure that, and your reserves are in very good shape for a program this size. We have our reserves started the year with about $125,000 in our reserves, and that is 91% of what that's that's 91% reserves, and the way that that percentage is determined is DHCD looks at your operating budget, your total budget, all right? And they take 50% of that, and if you have that in your reserve, you have max reserves, okay? So we have 91% of that max reserve balance, okay? And so we're in, you know, good financial shape, and so that as we have to deal with things this year, we've done different things like replacing doors and security and heating and plumbing, things like that. We're in a good shape to be able to cover those costs and still, you know, keep decent reserves. So we, besides just the regular operating budget, I've done a few things too, like in the maintenance labor area, I put a little more money in overtime. I increased that line item for overtime just because you know, you never know what you're up to with department turnovers and things like that. And then I added more money in snow removal and things like that. So I put money in where I could, you know, where it might be needed. Hello.
Lois, she's one of our,
Lois is our board member. Good morning.
sorry.
Not a
That's
problem.
okay.
No. This is where we're working on.
Just going over the budget. And so after putting the whole, what I call regular operating budget, together, I then, you know, we have talked about, and on the last page of your package is some of the, what we call non-routine things that we might be using our reserves for, okay? So it's the last page of the package, and this represents things that we're going to use our reserves for if we as we need it. Some of these things have already happened: the door replacement and the electric, that was the generator. We've incurred those costs already. We always have to buy some appliances, and we're doing the security update the system. We've done that already too this year. So this is the schedule when we're looking at this of non-routine types of things, and it's like the usage of our reserves. And so when taking all those things into consideration, and we always build in a little extra for things that we just don't know about, you know, making sure that if something comes up during the year, we can plan things, but there's always something that's not planned. And so we built that into the budget as well. And so besides the regular operating budget and then the non-routine, we are anticipating, if everything goes, that we will be using like $13,000 of our reserves, okay? Which is still gonna leave us at over $100,000 and 82% reserve level. So we're, you know, I know we're a small project and that sort of thing, but we're, you know, we've got a lot built into this budget, and I think for operating, and yet we're still in really good financial shape, and our reserves are in a good place, and we're, you know, and we've come a long way, because there were times, you know, several years ago, a few years ago, that, you know, we were struggling, and we've come through. So we're doing, you know, our property is, you know, doing well. We can deal with problems as they come up, and we're in really good shape. And I think we've addressed all the different issues that the authority has in our budget. So I don't, if anybody has any questions, or if there's any particular line item that you'd like to go through, to talk about the budget, or questions that you might have, or if I can explain a little more about the process or anything that we have. But I mean, it's really, I mean, I think as a board, you should, you know, feel very comfortable that what we've got built in here is, you know, very accurate, and, you know, and it presents our picture very, very well as to where we are. We've got money to operate, and we also are able to maintain, you know, a very healthy financial position as well.
Okay. I just want to comment that unlike years in the past, at least this is relatively early. We've gotten the budget, like,
I know.
at the end of the year, we find out what we did during the year.
Yeah, right, yes,
So
exactly.
I
So-
guess we have to thank the HCD for getting information to you in
if
a time,
yeah,
a
little
more timely, more
It's like
timely basis.
Every year they get maybe a month earlier, you know?
Well.
You know, it just depends on, so, yes, I know. But, yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is very true. So, you know, thank goodness we're in a good financial shape because,
Right,
you know,
to be able to
operating without
carry
a
it.
budget isn't always the best way to have
No,
to go. But
no,
we've
definitely.
got one in place now, the financial statements that we send to you, you know, each month will have these new budget numbers in them and we'll be operating with that.
Okay. Any questions from the board members? No?
About any particular line item or anything that anybody might have?
No, I think you explained it very well. I'm all set. Go ahead.
Yes, go
Lois.
ahead.
No, the legal expense,
Yes?
it's kind of tight, do you think?
Well, what we, you know, it's sort of hard because it goes from, the 2,000, actually, the $2,000 I have budgeted in here is also an exemption. DHCD, because we don't have, you know, the
Regional attorneys.
regional attorneys anymore, small to medium authorities, they're giving you an exemption. So they're giving us $2,000 that DHCD is giving us towards legal. And so I just built the budget around that. So you did have you had like a legal settlement last
Right,
year and
last year.
things like that. So if something like that happens, then we'll revise the budget.
Oh,
Okay?
okay, sure.
If there's something like that ever, you know, happens. So those are we deal with that a case. So this is just basic legal if you need it. And if something happens that we have to pay something more significant or whatever, then we'll revise the budget.
Okay.
All right, so that's, you know, where we are, because I know we did have that last year. We did have a settlement. So, so that's why this is just kind of a estimate, and this is what DHCD funds. So we'll go from there.
Okay.
Any other things that are in here? You know, with the management agreement, you know, it was the one that you had in place, and then what DHCD allowed was the 5% increase that matched exactly what they did with the executive director. So we just built that in, and I think that's part of your agreement with Somerset. So we just built in what DHCD allowed when it comes to that. So that's, we did that as well. So, is there any other kind of questions or line items or anything? You know, of course, along with this budget, we then also have our MOD, our state modernization, and you've got your new ARPA money that we have this year that we'll be doing, trying to spend things. So we have that pot of money too that also addresses our bigger issues here at the.
Right, that's separate from.
That's separate from this budget. This is just our regular operating budget.
Okay. I have nothing further. Do we need a motion to accept
Special
the budget?
motion.
Yeah, we have
Yes.
we have a special.
Oh, we have a special motion.
Yeah, a
Okay.
special motion. Well, it's more.
So we just,
I mean, to be honest, the board can just, they don't have to actually read that.
I don't
word
have
for
to
word.
read that?
You don't have to read that word for word. You can just,
boy, I make my boards read it word for
Do
word.
you? Okay. You
No,
do
no,
what you-
that's all
you
right.
do what you want to do.
That's
I'm
all
sorry.
right.
I didn't-
You want it read?
Okay.
No, I don't care. You don't have to read it, but you
It's up
can
to
if
you.
you'd
Yeah,
like to.
yeah. It's-
Okay.
So Somebody
Okay,
has to
somebody has
initiate
to
it
make the
separate.
motion to start with so we can enter the name.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Zachary Rio moved that the proposed operating budget for state-aided housing of the Westport Housing Authority, Chapter 200, 667, 705, 689, MRVP, program number 401, it should be 4001.
Yeah, it's 4001, which is your
Okay.
667 elderly.
All right, it says 401 here.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the way DHCD.
For fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, showing total revenue of $258,765 for account number 3000, total expenses of $299,597, account number 4000. thereby requesting a subsidy of $27,620 from account number 3801, and further that the executive director's total annual salary of $0
Yeah, because you don't.
for fiscal year ending 6/30/23 be submitted to the Department of Housing and Community Development for its review and approval. Second on the motion is Pauline Broda. Seconded the motion, which upon roll call was passed by a vote. Enter total vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, total of 4. And certified a true and correct copy of the resolution adopted at said meeting and on file and recorded by the Westport Housing Authority.
So
Okay.
behind this, everyone has to sign.
Oh, okay.
Just,
So it's pretty clear. You're going to chairman first, and then you print your name, sign it, and then date it today.
Today's date?
Yep, and then
Okay.
we'll have to have Liz sign that as well.
Oh, it doesn't matter, everybody's gonna, no, it doesn't matter. Just, okay.
I will send you the word.
Don't hurry, I'm off tomorrow.
I will get that off to you, and we've got it almost all entered in the system, so.
I hope it's all right with blue pen, because that's what I've got.
Thanks, Teresa.
12:14 today, I believe.
Off Tuesday, and I'm off Monday.
Okay, I'll pass it down, then we can pass it back. Oh, I'm sorry, keep it upside down.
Okay, no problem. All right,
I have to hunt down the COVID board member.
Okay, and to be honest, right now, because we're still under the regulations of COVID,
I just flipped pages over for you, so you could-
Thank you.
I thought I saw you coming in, so I said, well, get it where we are. So-
That's good, that's good.
so-
They're all working from home.
Yes,
I got
because
it,
they're
okay.
all working from
You don't
home.
want my
Very good.
Yeah, we have
Better
three-
get out of
Like
here
my
before I start
glasses.
screaming.
All right. Well, I thank you very much,
mic on.
and I hope you have a wonderful holiday.
Thank you, you
Merry
also.
Christmas,
Thank you for coming
and
down.
Thank you very
Okay.
much, and
And Teresa has been very easy to work with, so in the transition, I have to
Oh,
tell you
that's not what you've
that
said behind doors.
that
No,
she's been
no,
very
she's-
easy
no,
to work
thank
with.
you.
And I do appreciate that because it has been a difficult situation for Fenton and Ewald, and
Yeah.
also a difficult situation for us.
yeah,
Even through COVID, where we're doing everything online as opposed to in person.
that's right.
So Teresa's been wonderful about
Thank you.
answering questions and responding to my goofy emails, so
Yeah,
I know you should-
my pleasure, no problem.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Safe drive home.
Yes, thank you.
Where you
All
are,
right,
Lois?
thanks.
Right here.
Okay, I
Yep.
don't know, does that say Lois?
You're-
Oh, got your glasses on.
Thank you.
You're gonna
It doesn't
print,
say-
no, it doesn't
Oh, it
say
doesn't,
anything.
all
You're
right,
gonna
all
print
right.
your
So
name,
you're all right.
print your name and sign.
Oh, my God. This gives me a tough time here. Okay.
Do you have a medical degree, Zach? Oh, because you sound like a doctor.
I know, I keep telling him that. Nobody can
It
read
look-
his
it looks like a
signature.
doctor's signature.
You guys don't understand, we didn't grow up doing cursive.
Oh, it's going to be even worse coming up then.
Yeah,
If
but
your age is.
this is scribble.
That's, yeah. Oh, God.
I have to, listen, I have to sign so many documents that it's, would take me forever if I actually wrote the whole thing out.
Oh, my God. Do they accept checks when you endorse them like that? Yeah? Oh, good.
I sign everything like that, my license is signed like that too.
Oh, okay. All right, so we'll move on. Correspondence? Any correspondence at all?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, director's report. Everyone has a copy of the director's report? Any questions or whatever?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
What is the information pertaining to the surveillance video? You guys just haven't been trained on that?
We know how to pull things up. I had a situation where I actually called Mike and he pulled it up and sent it to me because my camera just needed my machine needed some adjustment. It wasn't picking up, it wasn't allowing me to go back.
Okay.
So, you know, Mike has been pretty good about helping us with anything that we've needed. So actual training, no, but it's,
Self-explanatory.
yeah, it's not difficult.
How's the quality of the cameras?
Good,
A lot better?
definitely better. And the plate reader is wonderful.
Perfect.
Yeah, seriously, the plate reader is wonderful. We had somebody who put something near the dumpster, and that was the situation. We were able to
See who it was.
we were able to see the person take it from the back of the apartment building to the dumpster in their car. It was like just wonderful.
Perfect. That's what it's there for.
So I just don't know if we should put signage, if there's any liability for us. Should we put signage that we're under surveillance, you know, we're under video cameras? What does the board
That'd be
feel about it?
A question for,
He's sleeping over
Is it just video
here.
or audio? Is it just video?
Video.
Video.
Then you don't need to do anything, there's thought processes of either way. But if you put up a sign, people might not do anything because they're afraid of doing it. You know, there was a big thing that years ago where people would put up these signs that were being, videotaped. And they had no videotape, there was just a fake camera, but it stopped a lot of people from doing anything. So if you want to, that's fine, but you're not legally bound.
Okay.
Unless your covenants and clauses and rules of the housing authority says it, Jack.
No, because there's nothing invading anyone's privacy. It would be somebody,
Public
it's
spots, public spaces.
correct.
Just if it's audio, that's a different story.
No audio.
I mean, if you wanted to play it safe, you could put a sign right when you come into the property that says full property under surveillance, 24-hour surveillance. I don't know how much something like that costs, but
Sign?
yeah. It may prevent a lot.
Something we can consider, yeah.
I mean, I would make a motion to get a quote on it to be presented.
Okay. I have
Is there
a
a second?
motion, do I have a second?
There is a sign that says no dumping, but nobody ever
Oh.
reads it.
A second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded to get a quote on a sign showing surveillance system in use.
Can I
All
ask-
those, okay,
Just-
question?
Just Lucia, it seems like for months now, we've been reading about this insurance.
Insurance thing.
company.
Oh, yeah.
But
well,
How many months has it been in our
I was
report?
gonna
It's
say,
been-
but let's do the vote on the surveillance
sorry.
thing first,
Oh,
and
okay.
then we
Yeah.
can go with other.
Okay.
Okay, all those in favor of getting a quote for a sign?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's unanimous, go ahead. I agree with you.
I just feel bad because it seems like every month we have this on here, and now it's getting to be the end of the year, and you think it's going to be a moot point? We can't do anything?
It's a DHCD thing, and if they're not sending me a bill, I don't really care, I don't want to pay it, but I just don't want, if they do send a bill, I want the board to be aware that it's
Yeah.
been an outstanding piece.
Yeah.
So I can leave that off, and the next one, as long as the board is aware that that's
Yeah,
outstanding.
if you all of a sudden get something, then you
Yeah.
can notify us that you've gotten,
Yeah,
received something.
That would be helpful.
Yeah. Okay, and I just have one thing, it's very minor, but I attended the webinar last week that was actually, I was very smart, sitting there trying to conceal myself, and I had my phone down below so nobody could see it, and I'm clicking pictures of all these things that they're bringing up, all the slides, and when the whole thing got through, they sent us a
What was
thing.
this webinar on?
This was on performance maintenance review and so forth, members.
Oh, performance
Residents,
management
yeah,
review?
yeah. So they sent me everything that I had on my camera filled up with all these things, so. Anyway, one of the things that came up, and I said, oh, that's an interesting thing I never thought of, was the cleaning of the gutters of the buildings. Those get done routinely? Does David do those? Do we have someone come in and do that? I mean, I know sometimes if they're not cleaned and things build up and then it gets up into the roofs and so forth.
Well,
Um,
we've have all new roofs, so they've all
I
been
understand
cleaned.
that.
So it's a matter of, yeah, we'd have to probably hire somebody because of the height of the buildings.
Okay, but I think we should look into that because filled gutters can cause a lot of
Yep.
problems, whether it's a new roof or an old roof. And if it was going to happen, I'd rather see it on an old roof, but I'd hate to see it on a new roof. So if you check on that. There were 2 other training sessions this week and next week, Monday this past
But they
week.
don't tell us.
9 to 12, 3 hours this past Monday and 3 hours this coming Monday. But there was a cost involved with it, so I felt I really didn't need the training. It was like $135 to attend, sit at my computer and watch, and I
Who was the
had,
training done by? Was
last,
it the, go ahead.
I know I had written it all down too. I don't know that I brought my notes because I ended up getting rid of everything I had jotted down when they sent me this stuff. If you mentioned some names, I'd know. There were 2 or 3 people involved in it. I probably still have the notes at home. I can check and get
Okay.
back to you.
I'm just wondering if it was somebody
It was
DHCD
rather
hired,
funny.
or if it was people, I was just wondering if it was an agency that DHCD hired, or if it was
It was people from
DHCD.
DHCD.
Okay.
It was people from DHCD. I just can't remember their names. That's a week ago. You know, I have, asked me what happened yesterday.
I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to think the other thing I was going to bring up. Oh, they said at the beginning they would have questions and answers at the end, but they didn't want to get into any particular housing, group, just to keep it. And everybody's identifying themselves and where they're from, and the windows haven't been replaced, and I'm paying for the heat in my building, and I'm saying, oh, that's interesting. But they all went to their own individual places with all their complaints, so I got out about 10 minutes of 11. I've seen enough. But it was interesting. Okay, if anything else on the director's report, if not, I'll take a motion that we file.
I actually have a question
Okay.
on that, pertaining to the gutters.
Okay.
If we're getting a quote to get them clean, would it be advantageous to see how much it would cost to get gutter guards?
Gutter guards on top.
Because,
And there's some cheapies now.
Yeah, I mean, that would prevent ongoing maintenance.
Right.
It's a one-time expense versus having to
Yeah,
do it every.
rather than having the solid ones, there's like a roll of stuff that you can just roll out and it snaps in, and
Yeah.
I know that's what they put on my house, which seems to be working fine.
Okay,
Okay, motion to file?
Motion.
Okay, second? Pauline, okay, motion's been made and second to file the director's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is unanimous. Okay, new business, Westport Police Department, Mr. Kudo?
I guess with the time of year, if you don't follow the Westport Police Department Facebook page, you should. It's a good resource to find information that's going on new with the newest things. That I know was posted was a warning from the chief. You know, at this time of year, there are some unscrupulous people
Yeah.
who
Kurt.
would exploit and feed on the good nature and giving of people, and just, certain reminders, like, the IRS will never call your house. They only do stuff by mail. If anybody poses to be a police department or a hospital that your grandson has been injured or arrested and they need you to go get some Walmart gift cards to bail them out, it's probably a scam. Don't do that. If you're going to give some of your hard-earned money out to an agency, make sure you verify the agency, and if you can even deliver it yourself to the agency, that's even better. Just remember, no one is ever going to ask you to pay a fine, post bail, pay a hospital bill, pay your back insurance or your back income tax with any gift card from any company, ever. And you would be surprised how often, unfortunately, people fall into that. And they're pretty convincing. The police are on the way to, we're not going to your house. I mean, we have to have a lot of reason to go to anybody's house to break down the door to arrest you because you need to pay your income tax bill. I mean, we're not going to do that. So whatever they threaten you. It's always safe to hang up the phone and verify yourself, that's all. And if you're not, I'll follow how you should do it, because like I said, there's a lot of good information there.
Well, and just to add to that, I've had people at another housing authority that, not necessarily Somerset, who they ask the name in their, they just give their name. So not to give any information, I think, is important. Not only not to do something, but not to give, if they don't know who you are and they don't know all of this stuff, then they're probably a scam.
You know, it's unfortunate that your generation, the one just before mine, I should say, were brought up
Oh,
the
thank
right
you.
way. No, you're welcome. They were brought up the right way to always be kind and be helpful and be. Sometimes it's good to be rude on the phone
Yep.
and just hang up on people and say, don't bother me. Yeah, again, it's not a criminal offense, you're not gonna go to jail, so you can be as rude as you wanna be. And you should be, especially if you're talking about your money or your
Yeah.
resources, or your kindness. So just be rude, hang up, and then call us and verify what's going on, because we'll let you know.
Very good. Okay. Old business. We're getting into the reasonable accommodations modification policy and procedures. Hopefully everyone had an opportunity to read through.
I did the best that I could with these. The language accommodation,
Pass that back to her. I have two.
the language piece of it is really difficult. I mean, I've been in this business 20 years and I've never had anybody come who does not have somebody, first of all, to interpret for them or give me the name of someone who can be contacted by the authority should we need any information. It's usually a relative of the person. I can't think of any time that I've had somebody come to the door. So Portuguese is, we have to put down Spanish because DHCD says you have to put down Spanish. But Portuguese is the most predominant in this area. And if we need to, I'm sure we can find people who can speak. Ronnie speaks. I can muddle my way through things.
Huddling behind you.
And there are, I mean, I know people from Somerset who speak fluently that I could contact rather than fill in all this stuff and saying we're going to hire an interpreter here and there. It's just, it's actually much more prevalent in the larger housing authorities in the Boston area, where there are multiple languages being spoken with multiple people who speak different languages, but not in the smaller housing authorities in the smaller communities. So my suggestion is that the board, unless you have something egregious, that we just let it go, we put it in, and if DHCD questions it, it's part of the annual plan, so it just has to be in there for the annual plan.
If I could bring up, I have, and I utilize quite often, an app. It's called Translate. And you can choose any language. And if we did have somebody or whatever, you can speak it in English or they could speak in Portuguese or whatever, and it would translate to us. I also made a call. Lois had called me, and she said she had been watching the school department or school committee meeting, and that there was comments made there, and that they had an Arabic family that they had to contend with and so forth. So I made a phone call. Actually, last night I spoke with Michelle, and they use the Google situation, but they have a different setup with it, that if they needed to do anything, if there was a form that they wanted translated and given to somebody, that they could just make a copy, and through this other area, it would translate the whole form right over for them. Her secretary also at the school department is very fluent Portuguese, Spanish, and she said they'd be more than happy if anything at all that we needed, that we could call there and utilize her services. If we needed something translated, if we needed something written up, if we needed, say, our applications for apartments or whatever, if we wanted to have, say, one done in Spanish and one done in Portuguese and just keep them in a file. And if somebody came in, you could just make a copy of it, you know, to whatever. But anyway, the school department is more than happy to help us in any way that we might need to, you know, get to someone with those two languages.
So after the meeting, you could give me the information.
I will give you that
contact
information. But I think that there's enough things, you know, as I say, even little things. I mean, I've looked up just sentences and things like that to see how to say it in English or vice versa. But I know there's a lot of things that I can remember my grandparents or my parents saying, and it's just out of curiosity, oh, let's see what this really is. But it's very simple to access.
So DHCD does have the application in Portuguese and
Yep.
Spanish and
Okay.
multiple languages. So
You can always get a copy.
some of the application itself, I can get a copy of.
Yep,
Some of the
okay.
other stuff,
Yep,
no.
okay. All right,
One of the other things they mentioned, to have stuff in, I like that idea of a folder that we have just ready and will, because we are up to 8,000 in the area for Spanish now, which is significant in this area. I didn't realize there was about 8,000. But something like, I don't know, Chrissy, maybe you could answer too, along with, you know, like they suggest large print for people. We had to do that prior at the hospital. Everything had to be in large print instead of this type of print, because people can't read it. I didn't know if other places have that, and they could just lend it to us. Is the same paperwork the same throughout all Massachusetts?
For the applications, yes.
Yeah, so we'd be good for that, right? So I didn't know if we could keep a folder with all of the things, maybe borrow from other communities, so that we'd have them on hand. I don't know if that would work for you folks or not, but it'd help out rather than starting from scratch.
So I can look into that at some point and, you know, print out the application in Spanish, but and Portuguese. But if you look at it, even though there are almost 9,000 people,
Yeah.
the Portuguese population is 25,000.
Right.
So the percent of the total populations, the largest was the Portuguese population.
Yeah.
And there's always an opportunity. I mean, we do have somebody in the Westport Housing Authority who is of an Oriental background, and her family will come and speak. And I believe she can speak as well, but because she's a little bit embarrassed about it, I think that, you know, her family has been very easy to work with when we've needed to contact them.
I think in Fall River, probably around the 80s, we had a lot of individuals come in from the church, bringing people in from those countries, and we didn't have the materials either. We had to start all over again, you know, and learn their culture. So did we have to get a special paperwork for her?
No.
No, okay.
okay. Anyone else have any questions or comments on what you've had? Did anyone find any spelling as far as Westport?
There
Or-
wasn't a management in Oxford. I don't know now, I can't remember. I left my
Okay.
notes at home, but there was just Westport. It was, I
Okay.
think you put in, instead of Somerset, and it went right in, just a minor thing. I don't know which paper.
I
it
did
was
the
on.
find and replace.
Yeah.
I figured it out on my new program.
Oh, okay. It just went into, I don't know what the management and.
Okay.
That was the only thing.
But these are all handled individually, is that correct, Lucia?
Yes.
The regional accommodations, we should handle that one, and then we can go on to the fair housing and the language access.
Correct.
Okay. So to have a motion on reasonable accommodation policy.
I'll make a motion.
Zach? Yes. And Pauline, okay. Motion's been made and seconded that we accept the reasonable accommodations and modification policies and procedures. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Okay, the next is the fair housing marketing.
Again, this is,
All right, Pauline has made a motion that we
Okay.
approve. Okay, go ahead.
well, I'll wait for a second.
Have a second? All right.
So, I mean, this is basically, again, what we're required to put into our annual plan. I don't know how you guys feel, but we have 1,100 applicants on the list from Champ. Why
Saying,
would we be doing?
why should we have to be advertising something that the state has taken out of our hands and we have no control
Because
over?
I think this is a federal requirement. So,
Well,
it's just basically a federal requirement, so.
If we had to come up with something, because it says that, I think, it looks at January and June. So if we had to come up with something, you know, they suggest au journal, when you had mentioned that they had X number of Portuguese
Yeah.
individuals in this area, would we have something to show them if they questioned us with that?
They won't question it, but yes, we could do something. We would have to have it translated.
Because I think.
But actually, Au Journal will translate. If you ask them to put an ad in, they will do the translation for you, so you don't have to translate. I've done, in the past, when we've had to advertise in multiple newspapers and a language paper, Au Journal will, if you send it to them in English, they'll translate it and put it in, and they do the ad both in English and both in Portuguese. They advertise it both ways.
That was
So if we had to, we could use the Au Journal.
Yeah.
Providing they're still around forever.
Is that a requirement, January and June, twice a year? No?
It doesn't make any sense for us to do it. If we advertise for people and the way the CHAMP program works, we can't even house the people who have applied in the CHAMP program.
I think, don't they have to put it through though? Even though it's advertised, it doesn't come to you, it goes to Champ, right?
Everything goes
Yeah.
to CHAMP, doesn't come to us. That's why DHCD should be doing the advertising and paying for
Right.
the
I agree.
advertising, not
That would be
the
helpful,
local
yeah.
housing authorities. It makes no sense.
But you feel this is something we have to vote on and?
We have to vote on and put it in the
Stay
annual
with federal?
plan.
Okay.
Okay.
Motion has been made and seconded that we add this to our annual plan. Any further questions? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Okay, and the same with the language access plan?
Do you want me to correct that and put, I mean, she may not be, I put the church in Somerset because we have the Portuguese Mass and,
Oh,
so I don't know, should I put the school department in here?
well, that's up to you. I mean, we do have a local, you know, local resource to tap on, and they've offered, and I think it would, the more the town can work together, I think would be great, even though they don't really recognize us as, that was the
So
other
should I
question.
do school
I-
department administration?
Yeah. Okay, do I have a motion on that?
Say. I'll make a motion.
I thought I heard second. I said I didn't hear a motion yet. The second's over there. Okay,
But if he's working, I'm sure that I can send him, if he's send
that's Pauline.
That's good to know.
Yep, we have the police department resources also. Okay. Can we just put town resources? Do we have to specify? Doesn't matter. We can put police, schools, doesn't matter. Okay, I have a motion that's made and seconded. Any further questions? Zach motion, Pauline second. Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. Okay, commissioner comments? Zach?
No.
Okay, Pauline? Colleen?
I thought it was very nice demonstration or talk that the fire department gave.
Oh, last month? Yeah. Yeah, I stayed for a while, and it was good. A lot of it pertained to individual homes and stuff. It didn't really pertain to this setting, but it was nice that they came in and did that. Lois? Okay. Only thing I'm going to state, and Commissioner Collins asked me to extend holiday wishes to everybody on the board and all the residents. And I also want to do that. Wish everyone a very blessed Christmas season, healthy, happy New Year. And we'll go to tenant comments. Any tenant comments? Okay, hearing none. Our next meeting is January 18th, 2023, here in the Community Center. And I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Okay, motion has been made. All those in favor?
Hi.
So moved.